What's happening, people? Welcome back to another video here on TSF Talk Scottish Football. In this video today, it's just me and David. Ryan's away. Is he orienteering this time, or
well,
is it something different?
He's looking for Ange Postecoglou. Last time he was missing, he was looking for somebody else who we won't mention anymore because we mentioned him boring enough. But he's out looking for Ange Postecoglou, I think.
What do you say that?
And Kevin Muscat, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Might be looking for Muscat.
Oh Jesus! Okay, let's just get right into it. In this video today, we're going to be giving our 11s that we want to see play versus Czech Republic in the first game of the Euros.
6 days away at time of recording.
6 days away at time of recording.
This time, in 6 days, we will know the team news.
Yes.
That's mental.
I can't wait.
Could you just imagine the buzz with the team news alone? Oh, I can't wait, man.
Steve Clarke has got a tough job in his hands because even a few days ago, I think my team was a bit different for what it is today.
Yeah,
after the Luxembourg game.
Mine's probably different by one, and it's an enforced change based on performance, which we'll come to.
Oh my days.
We will come to.
But first, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Over the Euros, the podcast will be being sponsored with Who Knows Wins, that are a betting company.
Yep.
We'll be creating our own leagues that you guys can take part in. And the link's going to be in the description. What's the code that they can use to get into your league,
It's
David?
so simple. It's fantastic. The guys at Who Knows Wins looked after us. Go on the app, search league, use the code TSFPod. You will find our league. There's a £5 entry fee, and every person add, the pot gets bigger. So the more people, ask your mates, ask your family, get everyone in, the pot gets bigger for the winner. And helps out the channel as well. So what's not to love?
Just a wee bit of fun for the viewers and us as well.
Of course. So the first set of selections goes from the first game's on Friday, right the way through to Sunday's games.
Yes.
So, wee bit of fun. You're also playing against us. All the TSF boys are involved. We're going to go through our picks for these games today, and then you can go and pick yours as well.
Let's fly through them then.
Let's do it.
We'll start with the first game of the Euros. David, you go first on this. It's Turkey versus Italy.
Before I even jump into that, you know what else I like? It tells you what everyone else is thinking.
I like that.
So already there's a few on this that I'm going to come to that might be different from the crowd on this. Anyway, Turkey against Italy kicking off. Now, Italy, you would think, but I'm going to go with a draw.
You're going with a draw?
Yeah, I fancy Turkey.
Only 7% of people in this so far have went with the draw.
I think a wee dark horse, Turkey, I have to say.
I've been sticking up for Italy for time, so I think Italy, and I absolutely love the top. See the home top?
It is very nice.
It's tasty, isn't it? So I'm going Italy on that one. We should probably explain how it works as well. If you come first with the amount of points that you get from correct predictions, you would get 70% of the pot. Yeah. And then second gets a wee share, third gets a wee share, and that's how it works. But anyway, let's get into the second game. Wales versus Switzerland.
Now this, I think, might be the toughest one to predict out the whole lot.
I
can
agree.
see that already with the stats there. It's very evenly matched. Now, I'm going to go with Wales. Now, Wales are not going to have the tournament they did in 2016.
Yes.
But I just think they might get off to a decent wee start. It's an interesting group, that, and I think they might do alright.
I'm going Switzerland.
Oh, so we've got two differentials.
Yeah,
already.
I think sometimes Switzerland are a team that are overlooked. They're always in the tournaments, or at least they have been in recent times, and they seem to do alright. They get results, and I think Wales aren't where they were, as you say, in the 2016
Depends
Euros.
what Bale turns up,
it does. It depends if it's golfer Bale, training Bale,
or
prime Bale.
Yeah.
So, so I'm going Switzerland on that.
Okay.
Third one, Denmark versus Finland. Again, tasty. We've got Denmark in our World Cup qualifiers, and they're cantering it at the moment.
I'm going with Denmark. Are you swayed by the Glenn Kamara factor here?
I'm indeed. In fact, I've went a draw.
Nice.
I've went a draw. I think Finland have been impressive. To be fair, they have been for a while now. They don't concede a lot of goals. They've even done very well versus Italy and such in their groups before this. So I'm going Finland. Of course, they qualified for the tournament automatically as well, which is pretty impressive. Sorry, I'm not going Finland, I'm going to draw. But I'm swaying towards Finland there, I think that could be a tasty game. Yeah.
I have to say though, see when I'm doing a coup, I never back a draw. But this format's a bit more tempting to back the draw, because it weighs out. Right, Belgium, Russia. Now, I find this mental because so far people, like 100% of people have tipped Belgium to win this game. Now, I find that absolutely mad. That nobody thinks Russia can do anything here. I do. But I'm still going Belgium. But I wouldn't be surprised if Russia got something. Because
you were convincing me there, but again, I'm the exact same. I watched Belgium versus Croatia the other day just to get a wee look at Croatia. And to get a wee look at Belgium as well for when Scotland played them.
2018, they were handy, man. They were really decent.
They were good. I like the guy up front.
Yeah, big Juba.
That's him. He just scores goals.
Yeah.
I think Russia could obviously do well, but as I say, I watched them the other day. and I just think Belgium, Lukaku's looking really good at the moment, looks in the shape of his life. De Bruyne, I think, still touch and go. To me, it looks like he maybe isn't going to make the tournament. If he does, he's not going to be 100%. So
somebody join up and go with Russia, because somebody needs to back them. Somebody needs to back them.
That isn't financial advice, because I'd go with Belgium. But anyway, this is one that could be quite tasty here, David. It's England versus Croatia, a game from our group.
And it goes ahead on Sunday before we play it on the Mondays.
Yes, it does.
So it'll be a chance for us to go top the group after these two draw on Sunday.
Are you going to draw?
I'm going to draw.
Well, so far 47% of people have went England, 40% are on the draw, and 13% are on Croatia.
A lot of people back. That's the most the draw's been backed, I think.
I think it is, aye. And
oh no, Wales, Switzerland was 50%.
Wales, Switzerland as well. Well, I think I'm going to agree here as well. I've went with a draw. England are always notoriously slow starters, and that would just do us well, because if we can get in, we can beat Czech Republic.
I mean,
we've covered top of the group.
We don't want to top the group. We've covered that. But
we have covered that. Yes, we'll throw one of the games.
But
do you know what I mean?
Just to go top the group early would be a nice wee.
It would be nice.
Tease them into thinking they need to top it, and they will finish second, get the easier draw. It's all just mind games.
I like that for you.
Yep.
Austria versus Macedonia into the last two here.
That's got to be Austria, hasn't it?
You would think so. But again, although Macedonia,
Goran Pandev,
massive underdogs, is he?
I
think he actually is. Mate, Pandev, I think, is actually still playing for North Macedonia.
We'll go on to the next game.
See, when we played Austria, I thought I wasn't that impressed with Austria.
Well, Stephen O'Donnell's going to have to let David Alaba out the pocket before he plays. So you know.
But again, having said that, I've went Austria.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, it's going to happen.
And the final one, a late entry is actually, this was 100, it was Netherlands versus Ukraine. It was 100% the last time I checked it for Netherlands, but somebody's come in and took a draw. So it's now 7% of people are on that draw there. They fancy Ukraine, Zinchenko's Ukraine, to get a result. Do you fancy that? I've went Netherlands, I've got to be honest.
Listen, I think Netherlands just, but again, that surprises me because I don't think they're convincing enough to suggest they're going to walk it. But yeah, I think they'll probably just win, just about. I do think if they had Van Dijk for this tournament, they would be a dark horse.
Oh, absolutely, I'd agree with that.
They don't.
But they don't.
And we've seen the fragile at the back, we saw that ourselves.
Yes, you can create opportunities against them. So.
But no, I'm going to go Netherlands, so that's our picks. Get yours in, join up. We 5, I bet. I mean, always, got to paraphrase all these things. A bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know,
18 plus as well,
of
obviously.
Course, of course. But yeah, compete against us and your mates, get everyone involved, because the more people involved, the bigger the prize pot, the more you can win if you get it right, and it helps us as well.
And we'll be doing a good few of these as well. Yes, this is just the first one.
Yeah.
That's right through the
tournament. So we're probably going to run it with 3 match days, aren't we? For each.
I would say so, because there's only one game the first day, 3 in the next. To try and spread it out, go with 3 match days. So
keep an eye on the socials and on the videos where we'll cover our picks and the next round of selections. But yeah, get involved.
Right, so we're getting into this starting 11 versus Czechs now.
Let's do it. Right, in goal. Again, we went. I think we differentiate in a few places, don't we?
As I said, I have made a few changes.
Okay.
I've made a few changes to what I thought previously. I will reiterate the fact that I think there's not a lot between the goalkeepers.
I agree.
But I think I'd be being quite harsh, although I wasn't that impressed with Davy Marshall in the last World Cup qualifiers, as if I was to take him out.
Yeah.
And I was to put Gordon or John McLaughlin in. The fact Big Marshall came in, started versus Luxembourg again, I thought he was quite solid in that. Wasn't a lot of opportunity. Made a good save as well. Luxembourg surprised me. They're not the whipping boys everybody thought they were.
Yeah.
I've got to go David Marshall.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him in for this one. He saved the penalty, got us to the Euros, so
since Al McGregor retired, he's been largely fantastic for Scotland. I agree, he had a couple of poor mistakes in the last round of qualifiers, but apart from that, he's been fantastic for Scotland. Deserves it, arguably more than anyone in the squad. He will start in goal. I think there's no doubt about that. He'll start, and he would start for me as well. So Marshy goes in goal. Now, we're playing the same formation because that's
3-5-2, because we did obviously speak about previously. Will Scotland go with a 4? Will they go with a 3? I think we've seen in these games in the lead up, it's going to be a 3.
Yeah, and I think we're looking more and more comfortable on a 3 as time progresses. Now, Nathan Patterson played very well in his cameo against Luxembourg.
Very well.
Impressed a lot of people.
Yes.
I'm still going with Stephen O'Donnell though. I think Nathan Patterson will play one of the games in the group. I don't know which one, but I think Stephen O'Donnell will start this one. Again, somebody who I think has done very well, considering that his club form hasn't been that great. I think for Scotland he's been very good. Last qualifiers especially, I thought he was very good. It's so steady. I think that he will play this game, and I'm going to go with him as well.
This is where we're going to differ, because I'm going to go with Nathan Patterson. I do feel harsh on O'Donnell because you say he has nearly put a foot wrong for Scotland, but even in that short cameo with Nathan Patterson, I thought him and Gilmour linked up really, really well. Patterson was finding good spaces, and for all O'Donnell does have his moments in a Scotland jersey, it was relentless. It was constant, the ball was going out, and I really like that balance with Robbo on the left hand side, Patterson on the right. He's going up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they complement each other quite well. So I'm going to go with Nathan Patterson. And even if Nathan Patterson doesn't start in the first game versus Czech, I think he will get a start. And one of the three games.
There's no way
for sure.
that Stephen O'Donnell's playing 390 minutes at wing back.
I don't see it happening.
Nigh enough impossible. Robbo will do it because he's the fittest player in world football, but I don't think anyone else will be able to do that role. Patterson will get his chance. It wouldn't fuss me if he played, because I think this is what I'm going to come on to when we move on to the back three. If you'd have told me a year and a half ago that Scotland were going to have good problems at right wing back and across the whole of the back three, you know, we were crying out for one decent centre half. Now we've got decent problems across the back three. Again though, I think Jack Hendry plays. I think that picks itself. I'm happy with that. I think he's done well. The possession suits him. What I like about him, he's comfortable on the ball. He can come out. He's got that wee bit of recovery pace as well that maybe a Gallagher doesn't have if a ball goes in behind. And he's looking more and more like a Scotland player with every game. I think he suits the system. It allows McTominay to play midfield, so yeah. I'm going with Jack Hendry.
I think there will be a wee bit of debate here. He changed it up in the last game, of course, versus Luxembourg, but I agree with you. And I'll go back to the balance again. I think Jack Hendry, as you say, has come in and he's fitted into that system really well, and it's almost done Steve Clarke a favour because he now doesn't need to rely on McTominay to come back in, who of course is very comfortable in the ball as well, and that's what I've been most impressed with Jack Hendry. He's come in, he's been solid enough, and he's been good in the ball. We obviously get his goal versus Netherlands as well. So many times you see Tierney bombing on. You see him bombing on. Yeah. Hendry was doing that as well, and that was something I was really impressed with in the Netherlands game. So I'm going to go with Hendry for the first game anyway. Yeah,
absolutely. I think these will change. Certainly the back three will change, I'd imagine, throughout it. But the good thing is we've got guys who are all comfortable with the system. Now, the middle of the back three, I think there's two contenders for this. Maybe three, but I think there's certainly in Steve Clarke mind there'll be two. I think it will be between... I think it will probably be Grant Hanley, but I would go with Liam Cooper. I just prefer Liam Cooper. Right. I thought he was outstanding against the Netherlands. And I just think I just prefer him. But again, Hanley's been very, very good since he's come back into the fold, so wouldn't bother me either way, but I would like to see Liam Cooper in there.
Genuinely, if this happened last season, I think that Big Dick and Gallagher would start in the middle. But the fact Hanley's came back in, he played in all the World Cup qualifiers, scored a goal, done relatively well. Yeah. I'm going to go with Grant Hanley in this. I think he will be the guy that will start.
I think so too.
And the year probably hasn't done Gallagher any favours.
No, he's not played as many games.
He was out for a while. Yeah. Motherwell form wasn't too great, and so although I would like to say Gallagher because his performance versus Serbia versus Mitrovic was unbelievable. Yeah. I'm going to go Grant Hanley because I think he's done enough in the lead up to it.
Yeah, but again, good problems to have. We're not scraping the barrel to find somebody to play there. Now, these are the two easiest positions in the whole team. It'll be Tierney and Robertson that'll make up the rest of the back line. And but it is just, I just love watching the two of them play. I mean, have you ever seen a left centre half underlap as much as he does going forward?
It's crazy.
And I think Robbo's starting. I think he's had a really good couple of warm up games. Just seen a little bit of end product there. Dyke should have helped him out by giving him an assist, but he missed the target. Great assist for Nisbet's goal as well. We're starting to see the best of them as a pair. After spending so long worrying about how we get them both in the team, we've now got the perfect storm there, and I can't wait to see them both play. Fantastic.
As you said as well, I think they complement each other really well. Both of their strengths are unbelievable. We've got two world-class left-backs.
Yeah,
and Tierney's more adaptable, so he's in there. For me, he's probably a better defender, and that's why he does fit into that left centre-back role a wee bit better. Robertson's got all the legs in the world. He'll run for you all day, run through brick walls, big game experience. He's a captain. The both of them are in there 100%, and they'll probably we're talking about some players will come in and out. Yeah, they two will be mainstays for me.
Yeah. I think that, they'll definitely start all three. Robert played 90 in all three, unless we're somehow 3-0 up against the Czechs, and he'll probably be hooking. But Tierney will play all three. Whether he lasts 90 in all three, I don't know. But the thing about the left centre half thing is, you can play Cooper left centre half. You can play one. You can move one along quite easy. But excited to see both them two. Now the midfield three is where it gets really exciting. I'm just going to hit out with my three. I'm going to hit out with two. McTominay and McGinn both play. Now, before I say who's playing in the third spot for me, when Ryan Jack was injured, I really worried because I thought that was a massive, massive blow for us. Yeah. And it still is a big miss, not disputing that. We've had the perfect storm, though, in terms of how to deal with it, with a Hendry emergence at centre-back and McTominay coming into midfield, and the fact that we have a world-class superstar breaking through.
We do.
John Fleck. No, Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour is playing for me against the Czech Republic. This boy is going to be a world-class centre midfield player. He is, quite frankly, out of this world good at football. I have never seen someone at that age have as little fear, have as much comfortable ability to take the ball in tight spaces. And also, I've always thought that his best thing is he does the simple stuff really well. But fuck me, he's got the eye for a pass. He'll play that ball in behind for an Adams running through, for a Dykes running in behind. He's just sensational. Nothing phases him. And in terms of that midfield, because you've got McTominay McGinn, who will go box to box, they'll work they'll work their arses off. Somebody in there with a little bit of finesse that will keep the ball and keep us moving. He is tailor-made for that role in there, and he has to play for me.
And I think that's what you need in international football as well. Let's not forget, we played Czech Republic about 18 months ago, and although they don't have a lot of superstars, they're a really good team.
We didn't have much of the ball that night.
And exactly, we did not have a lot of the ball. And majority of the time Scotland aren't demanding the ball and aren't always in possession of the football. And I just think, I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to go McTominay, McGinn and Gilmour for the first game.
Makes me so horny thinking about that.
It does. It does. Oh. And let's not forget there is other options that Clark could go with. Could go with Callum McGregor, could go with Armstrong, could go with other guys like Turnbull and such. We've got a really strong squad, but that halftime cameo for me, I know it's only Luxembourg, but he's scanning. Scanning. He's constantly scanning, and I love that about him. He's the perfect replacement for me, Ryan Jack. The guy that's going to come in, demand the ball, keep the ball as well. We were talking about it before. I think he's world class already when it comes to weight of pass and pass selection. He's so composed, and I'd say world class in composure as well. And I think you need that. He's a big game player, and as you said, he's a superstar.
And see, for playing for midfield for Scotland, the one thing you're not going to have is much time in the ball. There is nobody better in our squad in that situation.
Nah.
And I don't care what level you play at, whether you're playing fives with your mates, amateur level, whether you're playing in the Scottish Premiership, the English Premiership, Champions League, World Cup. If you have a teammate that will quite happily take the ball off you in a tight situation when nobody else wants it, he is just an absolute, like gold dust, them kind of guys. And I just think he will shine every time he plays. He shines.
Yeah. There's other nations as well that when they get an emergence of a youth player of this calibre, even less in some occasions.
Yeah. If he was Welsh, he'd have 10 caps.
They'll throw him in, exactly. And I think he should have been in the squad a long time ago, but that's another debate. He's there now. But these other nations have been throwing these young players in for years and years. It's time Scotland do the same. And there's no time like the present. Throw him in at the deep end versus the Czech Republic, and I think he'll do well. The only worry I've got is this head knot he took versus Luxembourg.
Yeah. But it was very much precautionary, wasn't it?
Precautionary, but just, that was a horrible tackle. It was absolutely disgusting. I was raging when he done it because this 19-year-old and he goes in and just goes through him like that in the lead up to a major competition. I thought it was scummy for the Luxembourg players. And I absolutely loved this team spirit and them all standing up for the boy.
McTominay was going to leather somebody, wasn't he?
I loved it.
That was glorious. I loved it.
We need to give him a shining light as well. McGinn and McTominay. Yeah. We've talked about Gilmour there as well. But they too.
McGinn's a talisman.
They're brilliant in their own right for us.
Scott McTominay is just sensational. He gets better with every game. And as a midfield three, oh my God, I wouldn't want to play against them three, I have to say. Now, again, I want to cover something. I think Callum McGregor will play. But here's the thing, if you'd asked me this 3 days ago, I would have been 100% sure Callum McGregor would play. I am now not 100% sure. I think Steve Clarke will have a little bit of doubt in his mind now that he didn't have maybe a week ago about who he'll play, and that is testament to how good Gilmour was and how good he's probably been in training as well.
I was going to say that's the testament. The attitude, that's another thing I love about him, his attitude. He's probably come into training, knew that it's going to be a big challenge for him to try and get into that team for the games, and I think he'd have been in there and impressed. His first cap, he hadn't had a training session with the team, still went on, looked composed against a good team. And then the second one, once he did a wee bit of training, he was just dictating the game, and I absolutely loved it.
It's when he goes and takes on like 4 or 5 players, he just runs past them. He's a tiny wee guy. The ball control and his dribbling's fantastic as well. Every time I think about him, there's another area of his game I think needs to get a bit of praise. And also is like his long range passing. I was watching a wee compilation clip of him at Chelsea. The first time I really watched him play was that game against Liverpool where he tore Fabinho a new arsehole, who at that point was probably the form number 6 in world football that nobody could touch at that point, and he just absolutely ruined him the whole game. And no matter what stage he's on, it doesn't faze him. So that's what I mean. Chelsea chuck him in Champions League games, and he just looks at home. So I can't wait. I hope he will definitely get a chance, I think now.
I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
I just want to see him go in there, man, blossom and do what he can do, because I know he will. I watched his interview as well, and the interviewer asked him basically, is this a pinch me moment? And I think he kind of went along with the question, but I could see in his eyes
he's not just happy to be here.
He's not just happy to be there and make up the numbers. Yeah. He's there to take part, and he's more than good enough, and I think he believes he's good enough. Another thing I've seen being highlighted, and got to give a wee bit of credit here, because I've personally lambasted the youth development and such for the SFA and these young players. Nathan Patterson and Billy Gilmour went through performance schools, and in both their interviews they've highlighted that. They've highlighted coaches like Brian McLaughlin and how much they've done for them in their development, and the fact they've always been there. They wouldn't be where they were today if it wasn't for them. And the sole aim with them being in there was the sole aim's to get to the national team. And now we've got two, so you've got to give a wee bit of credit to the Scottish national team.
The big frustration is recently, over the last 5 years, we've not had these guys coming through from the 21s into the first team, really. Now we've got 3 in this squad who are going to be brilliant players for Scotland for years. And you look at the 21s, there's still good players in there that are to come through as well. So, yeah, excited, can't wait.
Just on that 3, I'm going to have Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmour, and McGinn with a guy that can go a wee bit forward. Maybe a wee bit of alternating as well with McTominay, and potentially even Gilmour at points if the game's going a certain way.
McGinn's certainly the one that's got the licence to do whatever the fuck he wants. But the thing about having, McTominay will probably help Gilmour a bit more, but even McTominay, he's wasted McTominay if he sits as a 6. He's absolutely wasted, because he's too good going forward. He's a goal threat as well. But yeah, it's got a lovely balance of that as well. Now, front two,
let's do it.
Maybe a conversation here. Che Adams plays for me. We agreed on that?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Who he partners with, though, is an interesting one. I've maintained all along that Lyndon Dykes will start against England, and I still think he will. I think the fact that Ryan Christie wasn't involved against Luxembourg makes me think he's going to start in this game. I'm also quite happy for that, because I think he's just brilliant for Scotland. So I'm going with Ryan Christie off Che Adams.
I think we're agreeing on this again.
Well, nice.
We're agreeing on this. For all the selections that we could have potentially done here, we've agreed on quite a lot. Christie changed my opinion on him. I've always known he's been a good player. He's got a lot of energy. But versus the Netherlands, I thought he was really good. He was crucial, I thought, to our press, and he was the man of the match in that game.
Yeah.
And under Steve Clarke, he is just a really good player. He obviously had a crap season. Still put up no bad numbers, still ran about and such. But under the Steve Clarke team with the press that he done versus Netherlands, I think he suits it so well. Che Adams as well, I think he's a level up for the other strikers that we've got at the moment. So he's in for the start, and I just think Christie, with all his energy, running about and such, that could do really well. And even covering sometimes potentially for McGinn, that could happen as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, we've seen Christie.
One thing we haven't discussed in any of the really videos, because I think it's Clarke used at one point with a 3 at the back formation, he was playing with 2 off 1, so McGinn was playing higher up. Now, I personally think McGinn's a little bit wasted there. I like him driving from deep with the ball, but again, there is that sort of thing where you can switch it. You could have Gilmour, McTominay, McGinn, Christie, Adams. You know, there is a wee bit of variation there. But yeah, I just think that Ryan Christie's fantastic. It's amazing what having a good coaching team does for a player like that who has undoubted talent and potential, and has just had not a great season. But again, his numbers have been fine. He is just a different beast for Scotland. Against Netherlands as well, I thought it was amazing. One thing I loved, especially, the amount of times he drew a foul, the amount of time he held the ball up for us and got us up the park. He's got energy, he's got pace. You know, I just think he suits international football really, really well. And again, though, if it's Dykes and Adams, I wouldn't be fussed, because they linked up for the 2 big moments of the game at the weekend, the goal and the red card. So
yeah, I was glad Dykes got his misses out early as well, because he did miss a power in that game. So I'm glad he got them out. And as you say, if Dykes does come in for the start, I wouldn't be too fussed with that as well, because I did quite like the dynamic of the two, the actual 2 strikers, and I thought they linked up relatively well. And even if that does happen, you've got Christie as an option off the bench. So.
I also wouldn't be upset if Kevin Nisbet start.
And Nisbet. So there's a lot
Ryan
of options.
Fraser as well has played that role against in that win against Czech Republic. He scored the goal and played in that role.
It's crazy.
And he's got goals in him. He scored lots of goals for Scotland recently. Yeah, so many options. I find it absolutely bewildering that we are now in a situation where we've got all these selection headaches in a positive sense, and we've got a European Championship game in 6 days. We are, I mean, is this even real?
Pinch me.
It is. Billy Gilmour might not be happy just to be there. I certainly am though.
No, we're happy to make up numbers. He's no though, and needs to start, because he will dominate.
He will.
So Steve Clarke, just do it, mate. Just do it.
It's like the Nike advert.
Yes, it's like the Nike advert. Is that us? Right, that's our 11. Who knows wins as well. Link in the description. Get involved. TSF Pod is the code to get into the private league, to take part, and we will see you again.
Like and subscribe
on the next one. Like and subscribe.